Oh my. Here we are. Just doing a little bird watching today. Checking out, is there any birds out there? Let me see, anybody? Oh, not yet. They should be coming any time now, bird watching time. Hmm. Oh, oh, I see a couple birds. Couple birds that signed on. Oh, sweet. Okay. All right. Fantastic. All right, I see everybody. Oh my goodness. All right, I see a few more. Oh, there's a robin. Oh, there's a robin. I see a bird robin. There's a Tina and an Ann. Oh, sweet. There are a few cute little birds out there tuning in to watch today. Yeah. Oh, it's so good of you to sign in and visit with me today. Hello, everybody. I'm bird watching Sandy today. Here, this is our cold, wacky Wednesday at my sewing room. And I want to thank you for joining me on Facebook and on YouTube. And I got some real special shout outs to some very special birds. Let's see. There's a shout out to Chris L, Sandy A, Ruth C, Tina B, Ann S, Ann L, Robin, what's Robin's last? I forgot. Robin S. Maria P. Thanks for stopping by the other day. Karen C. who came visiting. Pat V. Carol D. Kelly K. Loanne F. Cynthia H. Ann L. Ann, thank you. Thank you very much for the lovely compliment about the blue clothing. I appreciate that. Thank you. Hi to Rosa L and Sandy A's on. I hope you've got lots of work done. Annette W, Nancy C. Nancy C asked me to go outside because I'm so full of hot air and go and blow away the cold air because she's going to come back to Calgary and she doesn't want it too cold. So I told her I don't know if I have enough hot air for that, but maybe Betty could help me. That would be great on Friday. We'll try. Michelle G saying hi to you. We did Robin S. Carol G. Mary Z and the pups. Ruth C. Hi there, my dear. Betty L, who I'm going to have her blow some hot air for me. Irene and Barry. Sheila and Bev, the Golden Girls. Jean and Maui Jim. And of course, a special shout out to Glenda, Mike and Olivia. Glenda is just such a dedicated party girl. She had an accident and it's, a serious fall, and she still put on dinner on New Year's Eve. Can you believe such dedication? Yeah, so big shout out to Glenda. I hope you recover quickly. Let me just see. Oh, those were some nasty falls and bruises, my dear. And I hope you're doing better. And I hope Mike is waiting on you hand and foot. All right, everybody. So I decided I'd go bird watching, right? And there's Nancy W. She's, oh my God, all the way from San Francisco. Now that's a long flight. Oh, it reminds me of a joke. Why do geese fly south in the winter? Because it's too far to walk, right? All right. Okay. Anyways, I've been bird watching. Fact is, I've been looking for some flying geese. And I got to tell you, so far I found a couple frozen chickens and a turkey. But I think it must be too cold here for any of the other types of birds. So, but I'll keep bird watching because I really want to find out where those silly geese went, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Beginning of the year, I said we're going to do a project a month and a technique a month. So this week we are looking at flying geese, and I have two methods for making flying geese. So this is our first technique of the year, and I thought 2024 is the year to explore. So that's what we're doing today. So let's take a look at flying geese. All right, let's have a look. Going for the top. To show you my flying geese, I thought it best to have two different colors. You know, they go light and dark. So I picked out a bright white and a bright blue. That way you can't mistake my flying geese, okay? Because, you know, you could put them together backwards, who knows? One thing that I will say that Anne brought in was this little light, and it helps identify the right side of the fabric. So you can see how it glows, and on the wrong side it does not do that. It doesn't, well, you probably can't see this, can't see glowing as well, but it glows off the things on the thing. So that way I can't get it backwards, and I have done that before. So anyways, there's these cute little lights that'll tell you which side is the right side of your white fabric if you're using white fabric. So white and blue. And what you do then is start cutting some squares. And the squares can be whatever size you want, but they have to be the same size, okay? This is the old-fashioned hard to, well, I think they're all hard to do. Anyways, you cut your fabrics into squares the same size. Then you take one of those lovely white guys, making sure you've got it on the right side of the fabric and the wrong side. Okay, we want to take the wrong side of the white fabric and we want to mark it. So you can use several different things to do that. There's a clover erase in purple. They've also got a wash away one, which is the one I used at home, and they've got a white steam away. So the white won't work on the white, but the purple and the blue do. So whether you want to let it air dry or whether you want to wash it off in the end. I would suggest if you're doing lots of flying geese, you don't want to mark them all up with purple the next day. The mark is gone. So, but for today's show, we can do that. We also have the Dritz markers that are as well wash away or air dry. So you just, now they ask you to find on the wrong side of the fabric, the diagonal. And this little ruler isn't quite long enough. Isn't that just a shame? Okay, we're going to have to get started and move it as we go. Okay, so we start marking our little line. Let's move our little ruler just a tad to get to the other end. So you mark the diagonal. Okay, so the purple shows up really well. I'll give you a close-up, okay? Purple shows up really well. So will the blue wash away line, okay? So you've got it marked on your diagonal. Then you're going to take one of the blue squares, and you're going, my feathers, I'm starting to molt. I'm leaving them behind everywhere. Take your fabrics, I'm going to put them right sides together with that marked diagonal line. Okay, and then we're just going to pin it to hold it in place, just so it doesn't slip around too much, because we're going to now sew this. So you're going to need your sewing machine, and I used my 1/4 inch piecing foot. I used my single stitch hole plate. I put it on a straight stitch, and then the next thing you do, let's go over here close up, and stitch 1/4 inch, where am I? There you are. 1/4 inch on either side of that purple diagonal line. Okay, that will look like this. Okay, when I get it all sewn. So there it is. I should have put this in darker color, but there's the 1/4 inch seam on one side and the 1/4 inch seam on the other, pinned together. And you'll see I use the blue wash away this time. All right, back to the top. We're going to now take this and we are going to cut this along that blue diagonal line that we put in. Oh, that's nice and sharp. I don't know whose nice rotary cutter this is, but it certainly is sharp. So now we have 2 triangles. All right, so you take your pins out of your triangles. My feathers are getting in the way. Open it up. And the lady on one of the patterns that I used said she always did it toward the dark side. Okay, so you would press that open on the dark side. Going to the dark side. Oh, then I should tell you another joke if we're going to the dark side. Are you ready? What kind of bird works at a construction site? It's a crane. All right, so that's funny. Okay, so here we have our two flying geese. Now, at this moment, you have to decide which of these flying geese is the one that you're going to use as the geese and one is the sky. So that's where you have to decide, because the next step is to sew them together, and you put right sides together and sew it down the white side, and then whoop, okay, let's try it again, right, Betty? Poor Betty, she says, oh my God, Sandy, what are you doing? Okay, so 1/4 inch down and open it up. Oh, you can't see. And there you have a blue sky and a white goose. Or we can put the blue sides together, sew down that side 1/4 inch and open it up. And this time your sky is white and your goose is in blue. So you have to decide before you get started which way round you want to do. So the one that I put together is, of course, with the white geese in the blue sky. Now, once you got these sewn together like that, then you can just make one follow the other until you have a whole line of little flying geese. And they are the cutest little things, right? Sorry, there. So you could have a whole line of flying geese. So that's one method. You're making the squares exactly the same size. You're putting the diagonal down the middle, and you're cutting it, you're sewing it on either side of the diagonal, then you're cutting it and sewing your two pieces together on a 1/4 inch seam, and you get a flying geese. So then you can do whatever you like with these flying geese. Yeah, I have some projects to show you at the end, but that's how we make one way to make flying geese. And it's probably a lot warmer than me standing outside trying to find one in the sky this time of the year, because they really do. They migrate. They go south, and then yeah, there they are. All right. So if people had been watching for a while, last year, no, you know, that's been 2 years. 2 years ago, I made a lovely quilt, and I'll show you my book. And it was called The Wild Goose Chase. And I made this in burgundies, grays, and cream. Oh, I really am molting. And I made it as a wedding present for my son and daughter-in-law. And it turned out beautifully. However, that is a lot of blocks. I had to cut like 143 of them. And I thought, oh my goodness sakes, that's a lot. So what I found, I borrowed from Betty her wing clipper. And then after I borrowed it, finished the quilt, I gave it back, but I had to buy my own wing clipper, because that was such a fun way to make 1/4 flying geese. So let me show you the wing clipper method. Are you ready? So with the wing clipper, you have to decide before you start putting these little babies together, which is going to be your sky and which is going to be your goose, so to speak. So I didn't realize when I first did these which was which. So I took the big square that they ask you to cut, and I made it blue. Next time I would make it white, because your finished product ends up being with your bird in a white sky, or you could do it white with a blue sky. But know that the big block that you cut for this is the actual goose. Yeah, got your goose, didn't I? Okay, and so the first thing you do is you cut big blocks, and then you cut small blocks. And you actually need 1 big block and 6 little blocks. And you're going to end up with, what did we end up with? Quite a few finished flying geese. So you end up with 1, 2, 3, 4 out of this. So we start with the very big block. Then you take the small blocks, and here I can barely tell right side from wrong side, but that's the right side. And you put it in the corner, and you take another block and you put it in the other corner. And these are right sides together. And then you draw a diagonal line down the middle, just like we did for the other goose, but you'll see that we've got several connections, so we're going to have more than one goose formed. Okay, so you put your blocks right side together, mark it with your diagonal, and then you sew, just like we did on the other one. We sew it on either side of the blue line. So now we've got the diagonal and then 2 sets of stitching, 1/4 inch on either side of the diagonal. Okay, that's what we get after we've done that. So then they tell us to take your ruler, and we can use our wing clipper's edge, and you cut down that crazy blue line. All right, now doesn't this look funny? But if you press these open, and they said to press it to the white side this time. I don't know why. I usually go dark, but the wing clippers specifically said toward the light. Okay, so when you press them open, you got, looks like 2 little hats on a triangle. All right, so 2 little hats on a triangle. Then what you do with the 2 little hats on your triangle is you now, okay, where did it go? Sorry. I have these all laid out, and then I mess them all up. Okay, so for each one of these little triangle set guys, you take another white triangle and right sides together, you put that in the diagonal in that corner. Just like we did the other one, kind of pin it in place. So now each of these is going to be made into a pair. Okay, so there we go. And do the same for this little guy. And I wish I had him pressed, but I didn't put up an iron today. So, okay, so this is the wing clipper. Put it here. And guess what you do next? Yeah, you draw the diagonal line. And then you sew on either side of the diagonal line. So there we go. Now we mark that diagonal line from the top of that little goose to the bottom. And then you take this to the sewing machine, and you would sew your 1/4 inch seam on both sides of your diagonal. Okay. Oh, look, somebody did it. Okay, over here. So here it is. I've drawn the diagonal on the line, and I've sewn on either side. So now we take this guy. Whoop. Okay, we really am molting and falling apart here. Then we cut him in down that diagonal line. And we open him up and press him. And there's a lovely, lovely flying goose. And now when you've finished all that, you end up with 4 of them. And these ones I pressed already. But you take him and you use your wing clipper to trim them to make them perfect. So if I can remember, you put it down along the edge. And these are supposed to turn out to be 4.5 by 2.5. So we kind of line up the 2.5 and the 2.5. Okay, and then we trim 2 of the sides this way and this way. And then we flip our little guy and go the other way. And again, lining up your your crossings. Now this guy is supposed to be 4.5 by 2.5. So let's measure that guy there. Trim him off along this side and along this side. Ooh, he wiggled. I wiggled. Poor little guy, I wiggled. Let me take it from this angle. There we go. And you have your perfect flying goose. And I've already got a couple. So then what you do is start putting them on at a 1/4-inch seam. And next you know, the geese are all just flying away. So that's the wing clipper method. And you can make wing clipper guys as small as 1 inch by 1.5 inches, all the way up to 5.5 by 10 inch. And I think mine were 8.5 by 4.5 for the quilt that I made for Ian and Carly. Anyways, those are my lovely, lovely flying geese. So, you know, I guess you don't have to go outside to find flying geese. You can fly them right there in your sewing room, right? All right. Okay, here we go. Now, I did I tell you what kind of bird worked at a construction site? The crane? Okay. But why does a flamingo lift up one leg? Because he lift up two, he'd fall over. And I told you about the birds that had to walk south and they decided to fly instead, and the hummingbirds. Okay, here's the best one of all. Why do seagulls like to live by the sea? Because if they lived by a bay, they would be bagels. Yeah, if you can figure that one out, you are so brilliant. Okay, so some things to make with your flying geese. Are you ready? Okay, we have some patterns. We have a cute book by Karen Hullaby called Fast Flying Geese. And she has a few lovely quilts that she puts together in her book. So these are fun things to do with your flying geese. And she shows you how to make some with curves, how to make them on curves, how to get them going in all different directions. But she's got an interesting way of doing them as well. So she does one corner on a rectangle, she does a square on a rectangle, but she does a lot of other things too, like you can get the geese going that way, multiple geese, pinwheel geese. So aren't those cool? Anyways, that is a really interesting book. It's called Flying Geese Quilts by Karen Hullaby. I remember meeting her, and Betty did too, a few years ago when she came to England. Okay, and then we have some Villa Rosa patterns, which are kind of fun. This one's called Flock Together. And you can see this is kind of in the same lines as the quilt I made for Ian and Carly, but I didn't do all different colors. I had gray chasing burgundy. So it was called the Wild Goose Chase, and you could see them chasing each other up and down the quilt. So that was, I think she got caught. This one is adorable. It's called Peking Duck. And coming up is the Chinese New Year. So this Peking Duck would be kind of cute to make for New Year's. So that's Peking Duck. It's also a Villa Rosa pattern. And of course you can make goose tracks in the middle of anything that you want. This is called the Running Doe Baby Goose, and it's so cute. So you can make them into any kind of pattern. So those are some cute little ones that we have at the store, so that you can take this little technique that we have just done, the flying geese, and use it in a project, which is so much fun. Yes, and I'm sorry, but I got hooked on it from this book called World of Quilts, and I cannot believe that we're sold out of this book, but we are, and I just love it for the flying geese, the Wild Goose Chase, which I did. And got my started on these wing clipper things, which were absolutely amazing rulers. All right, you guys, I have some announcements for you. Number one, it's going to get cold, so you guys make sure you bundle up and keep warm. Number two, tomorrow is the Bernina Brother cover stitch class. It starts at 10, it goes to 4. It's here Thursday and Friday, so if you're enrolled, you know, just take it easy, get here. We'll open the doors for you at 9:30 so you can get in and get started. Now, if over the holidays you have a brother, you received a brother or gave a brother to a person, there is a new owners class coming up on January 18th and 19th. So not this Thursday, Friday, but the following Thursday, Friday. And that's for you to learn all about your brother sewing class. It goes from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now, rope bowl class is full for this Saturday. March one is starting to fill up, so that's on a March 1st. So you can join us then for a rope bowl sew along if you miss Saturdays. The following Saturdays, 2 Saturdays, is Anne's Tuffet, advanced Tuffet class. So if you're interested in making more tuffets, give us a call. We'll get you signed up. Also coming up Saturday, January 20th. So not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, we have the long arm renter certification. So if you want to get certified using that big machine, Doris is here teaching that class on that Saturday, January 20th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That one is $150 to get certified. All you do is bring yourself and you learn hands-on how to do it. So then you can rent our machines and do your own quilting. All right, so those are some of the things that are coming up. Surprisingly, because we have our Serger class on Thursday and Friday, I've been asked to come back for Freaky Friday. So if you're not doing anything Friday at 4:15, sign back into either Facebook or YouTube and come and see me do something freaky on Friday. Anyways, it sounds like fun. But thank you very much for sticking with me. So we've got our first project underway and our first technique, flying geese. So we'll see what happens for the rest of the month, okay? All right, everybody, keep warm, keep safe, and I will see you Wacky Wednesday next Wednesday or Freaky Friday if you want to join me then. All right, everybody, take care. Keep a good eye out for all those little birdies, and you know, if you've been feeding the birds in your bird feeder and stuff, make sure that they've got lots because it's kind of cold and they're going to need